Hello, everyone. I see we have 15 people in the room. I hope you can hear me. I see some people. You can write in the chat, where are you coming from or where are you? I see Rachel is from, is in Boston, right? Malta. Let's see if some people. So it's a shame you can't be here to show you Madrid. Actually, I have to tell you something so you are not so sad. I don't know if you can see my window, but it's a bit cloudy. It's not sunny as usually is Madrid, so don't be so sad. You are gonna be the sunny Madrid in the video. We have people from Lisbon, Colombia, Sweden, but live in Fuengirola. Nice to see you all. Thank you for joining me. For joining me for the virtual tour. As you can imagine, since you know Madrid is a big city, so we can't have a live virtual tour because you will see very little of the city. So I have prepared a video for you to see as much as Madrid as possible in 30 minutes. I will also share the link to the video on YouTube, in the conference area, in the chat, and maybe it will be sent to all participants in an email for those who can't be here, or if you can't stay until the end. I understand 30 minutes is a lot. And also, we are going to play the video, but I also prepared a Google map where the route I actually did with when I was recording the video, so you can place yourselves more realistically into the city. Okay, I'm going to share the Google map in the chat. Okay, hope you can see it. Yes, and there you can see the 10 stops I did in the video, and you can see the route in Madrid, and also some special places I stopped and I talk about in the video. Okay, so the video is 30 minutes long. If you see it all, when it finishes, I will be here after it for about 5-10 minutes. So if anyone wants to talk about Madrid or have any questions about Madrid, I will be very happy to answer them. Okay, so let's play the video. Let's see if UNED IT team, they're gonna play the video. So enjoy it, and I will be here. Okay, you can also write in the chat if you want to comment anything on the video, on the virtual tour. So enjoy it. Hello everyone, my name is Bea, I work at UNED, and I'm part of the organizing committee of 2021 event conference. Since this year you can't come to Madrid, I would like to show you some nice places in this beautiful city I live in. Although it's not a very touristic place, I would like to show you my neighborhood and the street I live in. The bunting you can see hanging here is from last year, from quarantine time. And we put it to symbolize union between neighbors. You can see this all over the neighborhood, but also in other areas of Madrid. This is the LAVAPIÉS quarter. If you understand Spanish, means wash feet, and the name comes from old times when streams were formed after heavy rains and you could accidentally get your feet wet or washed. There are other different theories, but I like this one. This is a very vibrant area and one of the most multicultural ones in Madrid. From 40,000 people living here, 30% are from foreign countries, such as several different countries from Africa and Bangladesh. We are at the very center of Madrid. If you go on your right, you will reach in less than 5 minutes the Reina Sofia Museum, the home of the Picasso masterpiece Guernica. And if you go on your left, you will reach in 10 or 15 minutes the very center of Madrid, Puerta del Sol. Let's go? We are starting to walk through Santa Isabel Street, which is a vibrant street with nice street art, small coffees and restaurants, a local market where you can buy traditional food but also eat international one, and cultural places such as Cine Doré, where you can see old and new films from well-known and independent authors, and it's also the Spanish Film Archive. At the end of Santa Isabel Street, we reach the area known as the Art Walk or the Triangle of Art. Since along 1 or 2 kilometers we can find 3 of the most important museums such as Reina Sofia, Prado, Thyssen, and also several small galleries and other beautiful buildings dedicated to art. As I told you before, the Reina Sofia Museum is famous for being home of Picasso's iconic Guernica, but also for being the most important Spanish contemporary art museum, with paintings from Dalí, Miró. It was opened in 1990 in a neoclassic building built by Sabatini, which was formerly a hospital, and extended later in 2001 by the architect Jean Nouvel to create a larger exhibition space, also adding a library and an auditorium. It is very close to Atocha train station, which is located in a beautiful building from 19th century and with thousands of travelers passing every day. In less than 3 minutes, we arrived to my favorite building in the art walk and probably in Madrid, CASA Forum Museum. It was an all-electric power station that was renovated and it seems to be levitating. And its famous vertical garden, designed by Patrick Plan, it is an impressive 78-foot green tall wall with 250 different species of plants, surviving only with water and light, and being also a living piece of art. We are making a quick stop because this is a very important place in the art walk of Madrid. We are at the Prado Museum, one of the most important museums in Spain and in the world. It was opened in 1819 and the building was conceived to be a natural history museum. In the Prado Museum you will find most of the important Spanish Golden Age art, such as Velázquez and his famous Meninas and other painters, and also very important Flemish art and the famous Garden of the Lights by the Bosco. Since at this time of the year the weather in Madrid is very hot, we decide to make a stop and coming into the Retiro Park, which is the biggest park in the city, with 125 hectares and 15,000 trees. Actually, Madrid is the European capital with the most trees, 300,000, from which most of them are placed in the city and in parks like Retiro. The word Retiro means retreat, since this was a place for the monarchy, for the king, to rest. Here you can see the artificial lake built in the 17th century where naval battles were celebrated and other water shows. You can also row here, and you can see also the monument from the beginning of 20th century dedicated to the King Alfonso XII.
Retiro Park is an oasis within the city and is a place to relax, meet friends, do sports, or play with your dog. But it's also a cultural place with beautiful buildings like the Glass Palace, built in 1887 for the Philippines exhibition. The design was inspired by the Crystal Palace in London. It was a huge greenhouse for tropical plants, but today is used for exhibitions hosted by Reina Sofia Museum. This is one of my places of peace, and these beautiful trees are also a symbol of resilience. It's a shame, but we need to leave to continue with our virtual tour. In Madrid, you always need to look up to find wonderful gems such as this church close to Retiro and Prado Museum called San Jerónimo el Real, which is from 16th century and Gothic style.
This area is known as the Literary Quarter, since some of the best writers for Golden Age Spanish literature used to live here, such as Cervantes, Lope de Vega, Quevedo. Why? When Madrid became the capital and the court was moved, also the open-air theaters were placed in this area, and they needed also to build houses for the writers for those theaters. That's why they built the first 2 floors houses in Madrid. Do you want to learn more Spanish? This area is also known as HUERTAS, which means vegetable paths or gardens, because in this area before the 17th century there was no buildings, only the outskirts of the city where people used to plant their crops.
As a tribute to Spanish literature in the Literary Quarter, you will find some quotations from famous Spanish literary works from different times.
Huertas is also the name of the main street, where you can find little taverns, little charming shops, libraries, and small galleries. For example, this tavern is one of the oldest in Madrid from 1827, and also in this same spot lived the famous Cervantes.
The heart of the Literary Quarter is Santa Ana Square, full of terraces and tapas bars, and one of the favorite places of Hemingway. It was built at the beginning of 19th century, and here you can find iconic buildings like the Spanish Theatre and the Reina Victoria Hotel, which was famous also in Hemingway's and Ava Gardner's times and known as the Bullfighters Hotels, and it was the place where they used to stay. Around this area, very close to Puerta del Sol, you find some of the most famous tapas bars. In Madrid you can eat the best Spanish food, such as the famous cocido madrileño, which is a chickpea stew, croquetas, patatas bravas, the best seafood from Galicia, and why not, calamari sandwich, one of the things you need to do if you come to Madrid.
We are now in the very center of Madrid, Puerta del Sol. Another word in Spanish, puerta, as you may know, means door, because in this place there used to be one of the gates of the city, and it was faced through the sun. This is a meeting spot for also Madridians and tourists. And we can see here some of the symbols of Madrid, such as the billboard Tío Pepe, the famous cherry branch, el oso y el madroño, the bear and the trees, symbol of the coats of Madrid, and the famous clock.
Since the 30s, Tío Pepe's sign is a symbol of the square and the city. There was a time that the square was so full of billboards that they were finally forbidden by the municipal authorities, but Tío Pepe's billboard had the pardon of Madrid town hall. The bear under the tree is other symbol of Madrid, and it was part of the coat of arms of the city since 13th century. It symbolized the balance between the city and the church, since the king decided that the trees and lands will belong to the city, while the animals and hunting will belong to the church. Bears were very common in that times. You can see it everywhere, in bins, drains, floor.
This is one of the most famous buildings in Madrid. It's the headquarters of the regional council of the Madrid region, and in Franco times used to be a jail. But the most famous thing is not the building itself, but the clock. Because every single New Year's Eve, people come here, and also all over Spain, from their houses, people watch TV for the New Year's Eve moment when it becomes the New Year, and we do this silly tradition. Do you know what it is? Yes, we eat 12 grapes, one grape per month to be lucky during the year. They say this tradition comes from 19th century, when one year, as you know, Spain is a country of one, there was extra grapes, and they gave these grapes to the people. And one group of people started eating the grapes, imitating the bourgeoisie, because they used to eat grapes. And suddenly, people follow, and this tradition started. And you have to know that most of the people do it. I do it myself since I was 12 years old every single year, and I'm a superstitious person.
Let's continue our tour from Sol to the Habsburg Quarter. In our way, we can see iconic places like Chocolateria San Ginés, for the most famous chocolate con churros, San Miguel Market, which is closed now for the pandemic, and
We are here in other of the main places of Madrid to visit. The Plaza Mayor, the main square. The first one was built in 1619, when Philip II moved the court from Toledo to Madrid, and Madrid became the capital of the country. But the one you see now is from 1790, because the one before was made of wood, and there were several fires until the last one in 1790, and the square was built in stone. I'm gonna give you some time to think and guess how long, how wide is this square, and how many balconies has it. Did you think already? Let's see if you guess it. The Plaza Mayor is 129 meters long and 94 meters wide. And there is 200 and 37 balconies plus 9 doors. You have to know that if you buy a house in the Plaza Mayor, the balcony will be property of the council of the city. Plaza Mayor is now a place to walk, have a drink, or maybe a bocadillo de calamares, calamari sandwich, that is a typical thing to do in Madrid and Plaza Mayor. But in all times, this was the place to socialize and to see some spectacles such as the Royal Theatre, bullfighting, and something more spooky, the trials of the Spanish Inquisition. I think we deserve a stop now and some nice breakfast. Do you want to join me?
This is one of my favorite places to have breakfast in Madrid. 1 minute from Plaza Mayor and from Royal Palace, but still very local, quiet and authentic. We are having a typical Madrilean breakfast. Café con leche, coffee with milk, but remember, it's stronger than latte. Churros and tostada de tomate, toast with natural grated tomato and olive oil. Now we have the energy to continue with our tour into the Habsburg Quarter.
We are here in one of my favorite places of Madrid, Plaza de la Villa, the city, the court square. And this building that used to be the town hall, that is not much bigger, but is still part of the council, the region council. And in this square you can see the oldest buildings in Madrid from 15th and 16th centuries.
We are walking in the area known as the Habsburg Madrid, Madrid de los Austrias, since it was built when the Habsburg dynasty ruled in Spain from 1516 to 700. Carlos I was the first Habsburg king, and he enriched the city by building many palaces and monuments. Later, as I told you, Felipe II moved the capital of Spain to Madrid, and the city grew remarkably. This area goes from Puerta del Sol to the Royal Palace, and it has the most beautiful places in the city.
We are here in Plaza de Oriente, the Orient Square. Here you can see the Royal Theatre, known as well as the Opera Theatre, because everything you can see here is opera. This building is from 19th century, and inside you can see the neoclassic style, Italian style. So if you like opera, you should come once. This square, Plaza de Oriente, was built in 19th century when the brother of Napoleon was ruling here. You can see the French style of the square. This is one of the most famous statues in Madrid. The king is Philip IV, and this statue is from the beginning of 17th century. It has to be built by 3 different artists, 2 sculptors, and the design by Velázquez. But it's not famous only for that. It's famous because it was the first equestrian statue with the legs high. Can you think where is the secret for the balance of this statue? it looks very simple. The balance is on the back, on the tail, because the half back of the statue is filled and the front is empty. This looks simple, but in that time it was hard. And they asked for the help of the famous Galileo Galilei to make the calculations, the math, to keep the balance of the horse. This is for me the most important place in Madrid. It's not for this royal palace that is from 18th century, but because this was more or less the place where the city began. Since before this palace there was another fortress. Another word in Spanish that you can learn today is Alcázar, that means castle, fortress. So, when the Moors invaded Spain in 711 until 1083, they built this old fortress, and kings, after the reconquest, they used to live here until 18th century. But Philip V, that came from France, when he came to Madrid and saw the old palace, the old fortress, he didn't like it because it was, you can imagine, not very nice, not very comfy. So, mysteriously, in 734, on Christmas Eve, there was a big fire and the old fortress, the old palace was totally destroyed, including some art masterpieces. And this palace was built in only 1 year. I don't know if you can see it now, but it's considered the biggest palace in Europe. It has 135,000 square meters and 3,500 rooms. You should visit sometimes, but you will not be able to visit in all the rooms. Nowadays, the Queen and King of Spain, they don't live here, they live outside Madrid, in the Zarzuela Palace.
The statues you can see around the square were supposed to be on the top of the palace, since the architect Sabatini had planned to put 108 statues of every king and queen who had ruled until that moment in Spain. But there were too many, and also the mother of the king had a nightmare that an earthquake would cause the statues fall and kill the monarchy. If you look close, you can see that these statues were made to be seen from far, because they don't have very defined features. You can also find these statues around Retiro Park and other cities around Spain.
Very close to the palace, as you can see, there are remains of the Arab wall. Remember I told you the old Alcázar was here. And you can see why the Arabs placed it here, because there was very high and in a strategic way to defend from enemies. One of the theories of Madrid name origin is that it comes from Arabic, Madrid, Mairid, that it will mean something related to water, abundance of water, streams flowing, because underground there used to be many streams.
In this picture, you can see an aerial view of the Habsburg Quarter, whose network of streets is broken only by the main square and the royal palace. In our way to our last stop of the tour, we are passing through Plaza de España, Spain Square, which has two iconic buildings called Madrid Building and Spain Building. Madrid Building is now a luxury hotel from a Chinese chain, and the square is now on renovations for a new project that will be pedestrian and green. Spain Square is at the end of the famous Gran Via, Great Way, and is one of the most famous avenues that we can call it our Spanish Broadway, since most of the theaters were, and some of them are still here, but others have been replaced by shops, since this is one of the main shopping areas. It was built at the beginning of the 20th century with the first skyscrapers in Spain. And Gran Via has also iconic buildings such as Metropolis Building and Telefónica Building.
To finalize our virtual tour, I wanted to bring you to a very special and magical place in Madrid. Yes, we are in an Egyptian temple, 2000 years old. Templo de Devote Temple. It was built in 200 years before Christ, and it was brought to Spain, donated by Egyptian government as a sign of gratitude to Spain for helping in saving, rescuing Abu Simbel Temple in the 60s after a call by UNESCO. It was brought in pieces and rebuilt in this very same spot and opened to the public in 1972. The Devote Temple is located in Parque del Oeste, the West Park, 5 minutes away from Plaza de España, Spain Square, 10 minutes from Royal Palace, and not far from UNED, our university. So you could walk from here if you come sometime.
You can enjoy here of one of the best views of Madrid and see Casa de Campo, country house, which is the largest wild park in Madrid. A legend says that in a place in the Casa de Campo are the souls of those who have lived and died in Madrid, and that can be seen when you see a purplish cloud rising slowly towards infinity. There is a saying that goes from Madrid to heaven, and a little how to see it.
Well, this is the end of our virtual tour. I hope you enjoyed Madrid with me, and I hope next time you can come and visit it in person. Thank you very much for joining me, and enjoy the rest of the conference. Goodbye. Adios. Hello, everyone. I see some of you stay and see the whole video. Thank you, because it was 30 minutes. They told me you can open, if you want, your microphones, or if you want to say something, or if you want to ask. We have 5 or 7 minutes if you want to talk about Madrid, or if you want to share somebody has been before in Madrid or Spain. You can open the micro. It's like an informal session. Thank you, Sandra, because I was worried when they told me you have to make a video of 30 minutes, and I thought, oh my God, they're not gonna see it whole, but I try to make it, entertaining. So, did you have any question? And it was hard because the week I did the recording, it was so hot. That video is 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning, and it was just so hot. Now it's very cloudy today. Anyone want to say something or ask me anything?
Thank you, Beatrice. A big thank you. Well done. It was really beautiful.
Thank you. Have you been to Madrid?
I've been to Madrid, but I haven't seen half the things you showed us.
Okay.
So I'm eager to come again.
Next year or next.
Hopefully soon.
Conference.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Sandra. Yeah, thank you, Lena. So, I mean, I will be here 5 minutes if you want to ask me anything. You can come to Madrid soon, Lena. Anyone, for example, a place that is not very touristic, apart from my my neighborhood, of course, is the last one. Do anyone or has anyone been to the devout temple, the GCM temple? I mean, it's touristic, but it's not one of the main places you see. And it's really amazing because it's, you know, an Egyptian temple in the middle of Madrid. You can open your micros, because I feel I'm talking alone, but
I won't open them because there are birds right next to me and they're a bit loud.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Beatrice.
I mean, if you want to leave, also you're free to leave. Thank you, Rachel. Yeah.
Hi. You can hear me okay, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I just had a question as to if the city is starting to reopen with more people getting vaccinated, or are some of these sites opening up to the public and restaurants and cafes? What's it like?
Madrid, I mean, everything is open here. Yes.
Oh, that's good news. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
I mean, I think I don't have the exact, info, but I think 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, they opened the flights from the States. European flights are open. And here, everything is open. You can visit museums, bars, restaurants. I mean, there are some rules, sorry. Obviously, the mask is still compulsory in every place and even in the street. They want to change the street part because it's so hot. And people, I mean, they respect these rules. But the city has been open for some time. So, yes, you can do anything you want here. It's a shame that you can't, but it's also difficult to travel now. And okay, more questions? Or
did you mention how many citizens there are in Madrid?
No, I didn't say. Actually, that's one of the things I say. I forgot to say it. I mean, the capital, I mean, to be exactly, the capital of Madrid, the metropolitan area has more or less 3,200,000, okay? But in the, the whole, only the city, but the whole area of Madrid with the, I don't know how to call it, maybe that's the metropolitan, but I mean with, the outskirts and all the neighborhood is 5 million people. So it's, I mean, but it's a noisy city, as you could see, and it's very busy, but it's also, Madrid has a feeling of, also community and neighborhood. For example, people, they live very much and they enjoy the social time within the neighborhood. So you can have that feeling. It's a big city, but if you are in your neighborhood, it looks like a little town. No? You know the people, you talk with everyone, it's like that. Where are you living? Where are you coming from?
I'm from Sweden.
Sweden. And where do you live in Sweden?
I live about 50 kilometers to the south of Stockholm, but I work at Dalarna, which is 30 kilometers to the north.
Okay.
So I live in a very small village out in the countryside.
Okay. Anyone has any question? Or did you like the breakfast? You can have also that for, for an aperitif in the afternoon. It's not. only for breakfast. No questions? No? I guess everybody's tired because it's not too much time online. So thank you, everyone.
And it's hot.
Thank you.
We have about 30 degrees here in Sweden.
30 degrees in Sweden?
Yes.
I'm going to tell you Madrid because I think something is...
My office here, I have
30, that's
30
crazy. In Sweden, no? I mean, sometimes you have... Here, actually, is very, very strange because we have 20 degrees. That normally is the other way around. Normally, you should have, 30, 35, but this week is a bit strange.
But you put it up to us.
Yes, I said.
Tropical nights and everything.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I think we are gonna we finishing here. I hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna also share the video for the people because they had the meeting, so they will see the video I will share it. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and
Bye.
have a nice rest. See you tomorrow.